Hello, my name is Riley, and I'm going to talk about my art for a while. So, I've never made a video like this before, and I'm not particularly good at talking to myself, but I'll do my best. This is gonna be, first of all, it's 720p, so it's HD, and it's gonna be slightly under 10 minutes, hopefully. And I'm going to talk about the art series I just made because there's a lot of things I want to say about it, but don't really want to type for all the time it would take for me to write it. So, starting off, that's a common box turtle we were looking at prior. Starting off, the sort of motivation for the series I just did, the black and white photos, um, which we'll get to in a moment, started with this image. I made this around December 2014, 15. No. Last Christmas. I made this image around last Christmas when software company Valve was having this competition to like make a Dota 2 fan artwork. And this is what this is. It's a Dota 2 fan artwork if you didn't know. It's supposed to be this big conflict where all these different heroes, who are the things you play in the game, coming together and they're fighting, and it's awesome clash. It's got my favorite character in the middle right here, Omni Knight. He is blowing up this meteor, and he's saying one of his awesome one-liners. Probably, I don't know. He's not actually saying anything, but the whole point of this image for me was making something that had a plot to it, that had a story, and what it was supposed to be was you would see who started this fight and why, and there would be the immediate consequences of it, and you'd see people arriving late to the fight, and you would know how this was happening all from a still frame, which I think is good storytelling that you can do in one image. And I consider what I made here a complete failure. This image just, it doesn't capture what's happening in the moment well, and anyone who's a big fan of the game can look at this for a couple seconds and say, well, that's not right. This character has no reason to be walking through the river towards a team fight. Why is this guy so far back? That's really irresponsible. This guy, the ability that makes him jump through the air like this has way too long of a cast time, and is way too short range for him to be jumping at this character, who would be jumped way further and already hit him by the time he's this far in. This girl still has her bow drawn back, her bow drawn back, but it's fired a projectile. That's just wrong. That's not how bows and arrows work. So, there's a lot of things I messed up about this. Even though I like a lot of the individual elements, like this Omni Knight, it's great. It's one of my favorite little doodles I did. This girl looks okay. Her feet are kind of weird. The fish in here, I'm a really big fan of. This turtle was made from reference from this turtle. I made another artwork based off this turtle. I really like this turtle. It's the first thing you get when you Google turtle. So, I don't know. It's a very good turtle. Anyway, this image was this colossal failure to me, and it drove me nuts. I spent 2 months making this because every time I'd open up, I'd be like, I'm doing so many things wrong. Oh, these mistakes. It drove me crazy. After a really long time of just disliking this, I finally finished it sometime around February, so like a month after I wanted it done, and I hated it. And so this made me think, I need to change something about the way I make my art. I need to practice having composition and storytelling in my artwork, because this is poorly thought out. All of this could have been avoided if I just knew what to do. So after I made that, I went in about a couple weeks later, once I got the spirit back up to draw, and I made this picture, which is a pretty short doodle. I think it took me a day and a half on and off, maybe 6 hours total of actually drawing. And so, what is it? It's me in my room holding my tea kettle and a BB gun, and I'm pointing it at a wall, and then I take that reference photo and I put it over this picture of a little garden in the back of a Japanese fancy restaurant. And yeah, I traced it and I shaded it. And I never really shaded anything like this before. This image actually has a lot of like precursors to things I started doing really aggressively later on. This black here, it's jittery and single pixels. I never used the jitter function, which is like the spray paint function, previously to this image, and I used it as well to shade this bush and to shade this roof. The sky, I'd never done a sky with this many layers and this many little lines, because my art style previous to images like this was all about having really clear-cut lines and really sharp. And so this is where I started experimenting. And this experimentation really quickly led me to another image, very similar, same subject, me, and same sort of idea. It's, you know, the character's down here and his objective's up here, and it's black and white, and it's got this really sharp tones and everything. All the lines are sharp, the hatching is sharp, and here you can really tell I went overboard with the spray paint can. All the background is done. This entire hedge is spray paint. This is shaded with spray paint. This area is spray painted just because it didn't feel like it had enough spray paint in it. And this is how I started making artworks. This was only going to be a week-long project. I do this, or that previous image was about a week-long project. I did this one in about 5 days. 5 days. Because I felt like it. I had, this is a very small reference photo I had. This is a big canyon. And I spliced together a bunch of references. This was a small stream, but I made these boulders massive, and this was a bridge that I found from another image, so I spliced together a lot of things to make this. And then I got, this is the bridge, or not the bridge, this isn't a bridge, this is a boat. This is a boat from A Life of Pi. The little raft the guy with the tigers on. And to picture that boat that I shrunk down and made it look like a wood boat with an outboard motor. So yeah, this is kind of where I wanted to take my art. I wanted to have the subjects in clear focus and the direction they're moving in a logical way. Like it, I wanted to start making pictures that had a progression to them and story. So, skipping over that. All right, so after I do that one, that previous one we were just looking at, I had this kind of brief break from art because GTA 5 came out, and the thing that made me start doing it again was I thought, hey, I want to draw a lot of people in a room. So I drew a lot of people in a room. I went out drinking with my buddies one night, and I stuck a GoPro on the window, and I took this picture. And so I wasn't wearing this. My girlfriend wasn't there. This room was completely different. Basically, it was flipped around, and it didn't have guns or swords or a naginata on the walls. It didn't have these paintings. And this picture is actually all from the... Actually, I might be able to find the... Here, wait. No, I don't have the reference photo for it on hand. This picture is all from a kind of desire to make that room and that story. And so in this, I tried to work in a lot of story elements. I tried to really show that something was happening and show the discussion. So we have our centralized character, who I've already drawn twice at this point, and I've decided he's some kind of explorer. My girlfriend, Evan Lee, woman who works with me, I guess. I don't know. A smoking man, this man I would later refer to as the white coat because he ends up wearing a white coat a lot. This guy's stripes, this guy's a priest, and this guy's a medic. Now they don't really look like it here because that's not how the story was at this point. This is just a picture I'd drawn. But, oh my god, this is already 8 minutes. I'm gonna do more than one video. This picture, what it was supposed to be initially, is just me having fun and drawing something, and I wanted to incorporate a bunch of story. There's 7 people. The books here all have Roman numerals, and there's, you know, the big sense of numbers, and I didn't really know what I was doing here. I didn't know what I was building up towards. This was a mistake I made in a layering this little circle. I never got rid of that. It drives me crazy. But what I think I got right about this photo, first of all, it's the biggest photo I've ever drawn. It's actually massive. It's like 4,000 by 3,000 pixels. And in it, I made sure to just slather on evidence and ideas and stories and what's going on. In this, you see, you know, bravery wanted. There's a wanted poster. This guy's looking over. He's alone, whereas these two are a little bit closer together. This guy is staring at the maps. He likes to plan. This girl's staring at the maps. He likes to plan. This guy staring at the man here, you know? This man's not interested at all. He's looking at his book. He doesn't care. He thinks this is foolhardy. All this sort of stuff is what I wanted to bring around and wanted to build into a story. One thing I'm really happy about is, well, I think is kind of cool, is the guy's history. This character, our centralized explorer, which I think this is pretty evidently him. Like, he would be the host of his house. But yeah, so anyway, I wanted to have his nationality and his heritage a mystery. We're at 9 minutes and 55 seconds.